Last February, I picked up a Prusa MK4 uh, printer, 3D printer, and it pretty much has not stopped running since then. It's now October, so that's 8 months of pretty much running almost 24/7. I've been stunned at the dependability of it. One of the things I quickly decided I wanted to do was add lighting to the unit. And that's what I'm going to go through here. I've discovered in looking into things, there are numbers of ways of doing it. Prusa has a light bar for it. There are other kits you can find for lighting on Amazon. Some suggested running a switch from the rear and using the power supply. I didn't want to do that because given all the heat and the motors going on in here, I don't know how much strain that would leave on the power supply. So I was concerned about that. We had just done a kitchen renovation. We had some LED lighting left over from the cabinets where we used it for over the cabinets and below the cabinet lighting. And I thought what I had would be enough to do this project. Now, if you look at the label, and there will be a closer shot of it in the next spot, all the information you need is here. How many watts per meter you need, the voltage you need, uh, and virtually all your answers are there as to how to calculate what's done. As I said in the last panel, the information you need is on the label. You can see where I got the LEDs from, superbrightleds.com. They are very good company to deal with. They're good with information if you get them on the phone, and uh, they can be very helpful. You can also see how many watts per meter you need, the voltage, the warmth of the light. These are 3,000 Kelvin. So they are on the warmer side. They are not bright white lights. So there's a lot of information here, and they will help you plan out your unit because obviously you also have to know how big a power supply to get. Once I knew the values of the LEDs, I could figure out what size power supply to get. I had roughly 2.5 meters of LEDs to put in the cabinet. Uh, and the 60-watt power supply I got was more than ample to cover the design, also leaving plenty of headroom in case I wanted to add any more LEDs, say down at the platform level. Uh, it looked like it would do the job whether I hooked up the LEDs in series or parallel or combination, which in the end is what I did, using a combination of series parallel simply for ease of wiring. Along with the power supply, I got a controller for the lighting. This goes in line between the power supply and the lights and gives me a remote turn on, dimming, other functions that I can run with the lights. I keep the control up at the front panel. I did not have to run a wire with an on-off switch this way, so it was neat and clean. If I recall, the controller ran $8 and the power supply was $40. The controller is pretty standard. Uh, remote is the same we use for LEDs in the kitchen, and it came with the controller you saw in the previous spot. It small, compact, sits nicely right next to the screen, and is convenient. So here's how the system finally worked out. In the back corner, I ran the wire up through the other wire insert,
Okay, you can see the wire coming up. The bulbs are in series parallel. The outer quadrants are in series and the inner are in series, and I paralleled them at the entry point there. So we have had no issue with power or brightness. Everything seems fine. The files I use, I printed the enclosures for the lighting. I used printables.com. I should be able to put in the link for the files. These are indexed so you can do end to end and make them one long piece, or separate them as I did in the center. Now, originally I had done the periphery and added the center from there because I was getting shadows down below, and the centerpieces softened the shadows by angling some light in there, and I have plenty of light now. I don't feel like it's blasting me. I have not really felt the need for a light down on the base here. Everything has worked well with that. Once in a blue moon, I may turn on the light on my camera to get a better view of things, but so far I've seen no need to add any LED lighting down at the print plate. So here we go. We have 8 7.5-inch strips, and you can see the one just up front here. So it's one on each side. They do clear the top, which pops open. The 4 in the center open with the top. Oh, I did have to leave the wire for that to have room to go up and down, which is also the reason why I chose the series parallel, because since the hinge is back there, it's easier wiring and being able to open the top. If I did that up front, it would not have worked very well. And there you have it. It's worked out very well. I've been very happy with it, and you know, it's an idea I hope you can use.
Now we'll get a little up close and personal with the housings. Starting at the lower left, you can see the wire coming in from the power supply. It is connected to the strip, which must remember, since it's DC, you have to watch polarity on the strips, and they're clearly marked plus and minus. The strips are standard width, and they fit these enclosures perfectly. You will also notice, or you may have noticed in the other film that preceded this, the ends of these enclosures are indexed. So there's 7.5 enclosures that will go together, and they're indexed to stay together, uh, giving you one 15-inch piece. Was very nice. Here I kept them at the 7.5 inches, and you can see the wires simply going from section to section in series. Back at the power supply, they're in parallel, or actually at the entrance to the cabinet, they're in parallel. And from the side, you can see these units really were designed very nicely. The uh, two pieces just snapped together. I used 3M adhesive foam tape to stick them, and after roughly 7 months, they're still adhering to the cabinet, showing no effects from the heat. And you can see the solder joints. It's very simple to do. So not a big deal here. So there you have it. I have plenty of light. At this point, I have no inclination to add any lighting down at the heat plate level. I just don't think I need it. But I have the power necessary if I do. Total cost was under $50 out of pocket. And as I said, the LEDs were left over from a different project.